No sleepover here. No sleepover here. We've got one day down, another one to go. Now, there was no doubt about the top pick, but last night was still packed with memorable moments. Now, in case you missed it, here is a beautiful refresher. Let's go to the tape. Here's what you missed in the first round. No surprise, of course, at the top. Cooper Flagg goes 1 overall to the Mavs, the second youngest #1 pick in NBA history behind, we all can guess it, LeBron James. And a good story also, you guys, out of the third pick, VJ Edgecombe would become the third player from the Bahamas drafted in the top 3. Here he was talking about his mother, and it was beautiful.
Long nights, I'm telling you, I lived off a generator. I ain't had no electricity, I lived off a generator for 7 years. Man, seeing what she had to go through to feed us, man, it's crazy. It's crazy, but I don't even know, man. My mind everywhere right now, man.
You guys, goosebumps, chills. 2 picks after that, the pre-draft drama began a little bit. Ace Bailey ended up with the Utah Jazz, took him with the 5th pick, something that was not on many radars prior to round 1. Now, a great story at number 16. Jan Hansen will be selected by the Grizzlies, then traded to Portland. He was sitting amongst the fans, not anticipating to get drafted in the first round. He becomes the 3rd Chinese-born player selected in the first round. Then some more emotional stories. Kaman Maluach was taken 10th overall to Houston and then traded to Phoenix. Tears rolling down his face. He becomes the 3rd player born in South Sudan to be selected in the modern draft era. And he talked to our Monica McNutt about that feeling.
I'm here representing the whole continent. Living Africa, I had the whole continent on my back, giving hopes to young kids, inspiring young kids and the next generation of African basketball.
That hit me in my soul. I feel like the NBA draft should be sponsored by Kleenex, because then there was Danny Wolf, who was taken at 27 to the Nets, and there you see him hugging his older brother Jake before making his way to stage. And you can see his brother just breaks down in tears, a testament to the emotions on draft night. Wow, again, goosebumps. Cooper Flagg has been the consensus #1 pick all season long. But Brian, when you think about it, what are the realistic expectations for Cooper?
Well, we don't usually see rookies, as good as they are, ever really drive winning. Even LeBron James, it took to his 3rd year before he made the playoffs. Kevin Durant, 3rd year. Luka Doncic didn't make it his first couple of years. Cooper Flagg is going to a situation when he can materially affect winning immediately. I don't know if he's going to put up the biggest stats we've ever seen from a rookie, but his impact for how he's going to fit on that roster, his modern-day style of being able to play at both ends with versatility is perfect for the NBA and perfect for the Mavericks. He could have as big of an impact on the actual standings as we've seen a rookie in the modern era.
I want to know who's responsible for these odds that we see, right? These Vegas odds, right? At ESPN Bet, because they done lost their damn mind.
Oh,
did you see the odds? Did you see the odds?
I did not.
20. The Dallas Mavericks have a 20. It's 20-1 that they could win the Western Conference. That is disrespectful. When you're talking about a player that's been added for as Cooper Flagg and what he brings to the table. When I think about Cooper Flagg, I think about what Tim Duncan, right? Tim Duncan was older coming out of Wake Forest, right? But the effect that he had on San Antonio, right, when he went and got drafted by San Antonio playing alongside David Robinson, Cooper Flagg could have that same effect. When you look at their front line alone, when you look at Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, P.J. Washington, and you add Cooper Flagg in that defensively, they are going to be a problem. They're going to be a problem. All of those guys could guard the perimeter. All those guys are excellent shot blockers. At the end of the day, when you look at Cooper Flagg, he could play any position on the floor offensively, and I think the Dallas Mavericks are going to utilize him at the point forward position until Kyrie Irving gets back, and he's going to thrive in this space, and they're going to be one of the best teams in the Western Conference.
I agree with you, Perk. The Dallas Mavericks need Cooper Flagg to be a star from day one, and I think he's ready for that. We look at a guy like Kawhi Leonard. I think that's the kind of impact that Cooper Flagg is going to have from day one. Just the improvement that we've seen the past few years with his shooting, with his ball handling, with his passing, and the impact that he makes defensively. Sliding from 1 through 5, Cooper Flagg is going to be a star for the Dallas Mavericks.
Think about this, right? Seriously. He's never ducked smoke, right? And never shied away from the moment. From the time they made it live TV at the EYBL when he was in high school, from the time he took the big stage at Duke, taking that team to the net. Like, he's not running from no smoke. And he always steps up when in the biggest moments.
And every place he goes, his team gets better. They win, and that's what they need. Even though, Mavs fans, they're kind of dealing with mixed emotions. Last night was a moment to remember for them because look at the watch party moments before the first pick. You can hear these chants. Fire Nico. Chants. Still going strong.
Wow.
In Dallas. And Nico Harrison had plenty to smile about last night. He spoke to the media after the draft.
All my draft prep up to that point was, us being in the 11th position. So that's just, but, things happen. Fortune favors the bold. I think it's two things. I think it's win now. It's also win in the future. And we don't know when eventually it's going to be Cooper's team. We don't know when that transition will happen. So I think it's win now and then set yourself up to win in the future as well. Fortune
favors the bold. Wendy, that is a very unique perspective.
Gonna have to step in here. If anybody deserves credit for, or the fortune, it was the misfortune of Anthony Davis, who tried to play through an injury to back up, Nico Harrison, re-injured himself, caused the Mavericks to go into a tailspin, exacerbated by Kyrie playing so many minutes, which led to a knee injury. And the karma given to the Mavericks by Kyrie and Anthony Davis, if you want to believe in something cosmic, believe it in Kyrie and Anthony Davis for what they gave to try to help the Mavericks, lowered their position to at 1.8%, they got it. I will not allow anybody to say that they got fortune for the pick because they were bold in trading Luka Doncic. I will, however, say that where the Mavericks now found themselves is in an excellent position. This team, assuming that Kyrie gets healthy, can be a contender against Oklahoma City. And that is something that Dallas Mavericks fans should pay attention to.
That is something that raised my eyebrows when I heard what Nico Harrison said. He said, we're not sure whose team this is. Perk, do you have an answer? Is it Kyrie's? Is it AD's? Or are we now entering the Cooper Flagg era in Dallas?
I don't want to get into all that, but I will say they are legit title contenders. The Dallas Mavericks are legit title contenders right now. Like, on paper, what they have. Cooper Flagg, right, leading the charge. In my opinion, he's going to be the primary ball handler. Anthony Davis, right, one of the best two-way players, if not the best two-way players in the game, if you're not just looking at a certain position. And then when you think about the experience that they have, Klay Thompson, he's still a champion. The shooting experience he's going to bring to the table. The Dallas Mavericks are right there with the Houston Rockets in Oklahoma City.
But Perk, when you came back from your ACL, you tore your ACL.
I came back in 5 months.
It's going to take time.
And how did that feel when you came back? Like, because when you say you're title contenders, you're assuming that Kyrie is going to be ready to go.
Well, we know Kyrie is going to take his time, though, right? Like, I came back in 5 months.
So who are their guards? Who's going to dribble, pass,
That's
shoot?
why you got Cooper. That's why we're labeling him a generational talent.
And you mentioned
Jack of all trades.
him potentially playing point forward.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if that's the approach that they take. I'd like to bring our NBA insider, Shams Charania, into this conversation because obviously Cooper Flagg was the first off the board last night. Shams, what are you hearing about the first picks in the second round?
Sinead, the number 31 overall pick, the first pick in tonight's NBA draft, is the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm told they're evaluating prospects, but they are holding something of an auction, seeing what offers are there. They've already gotten a few calls with interest, some offers on their board, and so they're going to be listening to offers, seeing can we get further assets for those for the number 31 overall pick. So they're going to have some options to sit from. Elsewhere, the Los Angeles Lakers have moved up 10 slots from 55 to 45 in a trade with the Bulls for 55 in cash consideration. So the Lakers will be picking at number 45 now.
There are so many things to keep track of, all the moves that have happened that you have reported, particularly last night. Is there a team that you feel like was the day one winner?
I think you have to look at the Utah Jazz. Getting Ace Bailey at 5, there was a lot of questions where he would be. Internally, he was always feeling like 3 to 8. No matter what he did or didn't do, he would land somewhere there in that range, and he did at 5. And then to get Walter Clayton Jr. as well later in the first round, that was a big-time pickup. And talking to people in Utah, they look at both these players as shooters, competitors, playmakers at the wing and forward position. So Ace Bailey, Walter Clayton Jr., not a bad first draft for Austin Ainge, the new head of basketball for Utah.
I know a lot of people, if you're Utah Jazz fans, you're like, oh man, we didn't get a top pick, but then fortune tends to favor the Bulls, especially what we saw yesterday when it comes to Utah. Thanks so much, Shams, for stopping by. Now let's continue this conversation because Dallas and Cooper Flagg, aside, Wendy, who do you think are the day one winners?
Let's talk about the Hawks, and I'm going to actually give them even the day before the day because they used a draft pick to acquire Kristaps Porzingis the day before the draft, and then last night got tremendous value in trading from 13 back to 23. Look, I know Jonathan had Asa Newell before number 23 on his mock draft. I will trust other people who are smarter, but this is good value. And most important, they got this Pelicans pick next year, either the Pelicans pick or the Milwaukee Bucks pick, whichever is better unprotected. The Pelicans play in the Western Conference. That's going to be a tough run for them. And the Bucks, we don't really know what their team is going to look like. So there is a possibility that they move 10 spots back, got a quality player, and maybe acquired a lottery pick next year.
Big Perk, who's your biggest winner?
Let me take you down to that Noya, baby. New Orleans. New Orleans. Like a lot of people are criticizing New Orleans. I thought they did great in the draft yesterday. They got the kids, Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen. Derek Queen has the potential, the upside of a Şengün/Baby Jokic. That's how skilled he is. Relentless on the glass, and this kid Fears is going to come in right away and play big-time minutes as the primary ball handler. I love it what they're doing, aside of Zion signing with the great Bill Duffy, who's getting all this stuff in order. They're going to make, they're going to make some noise.
How about you, Jonathan?
I love the Phoenix Suns picking up Kaman Malawach at 10. He was the best big man in the draft, in my view. He's going to be a perfect pick-and-roll partner with Devin Booker. He's going to anchor their defense. He's going to bring intensity nonstop on both ends of the floor with his rebounding ability. And I believe in Kaman Malawach as a basketball player and also as a human being. He's somebody that I would love to have in my organization. For them to get him at 10 is an absolute steal.
It is a steal, but I am scratching my head because now you also have Mark Williams there, so you have a number of centers. My biggest winner,
as many as you can get.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I love bigs. I was a big myself. but guys, my biggest winner had to be Jeremiah Fears' outfit. Gucci down to the ground. Gucci down to the ground, a chain. That was my biggest winner. Now, still to come on NBA Today, the drama started with the third pick. Don't miss what Daryl Morey is saying about why the Sixers went with DJ Edgecombe and how he fits alongside a star core that's still chasing answers. Plus, he made it clear Utah wasn't high on his list. So why did the Jazz draft Ace Bailey anyway? What they saw in the explosive prospect and why they think this pick could still pay off.